You are listening to the Park Flyer Podcast, where we discuss our RC adventures.
Welcome to the Park Flyer Podcast, where we discuss the ups and downs of the new RC Flyer. Join your hosts, Michael and Jay, as they take flight at the park. Now on with the show.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Park Flyer Podcast. I'm Michael from Arizona, with me always, some of my good friends.
Jay from the SC.
And Shannon G. and Mesa AZ.
And welcome to our podcast. I am ecstatic to be
back
with you.
Yay!
I am back.
I miss you.
I know it was a little rough. I am feeling better. I did have my follow-up with the cardiologist, and we can talk more about that on the podcast. But it is good to be back. A little scary event happened, and you guys picked up the ball, and I appreciate that. We'll have to forgive us for not having a podcast last week or about 2 weeks ago. But I was trying to get my health figured out, and it was just better if we waited. So. At least we can give everybody.
I think our listeners.
It's good to see everybody.
I think our listeners were fine with that. Yeah.
I think they'll cut you some slack.
Yeah.
It cut me some slack. So I am feeling better. I'm looking good and feeling good. We can kind of go over everything that happened and kind of revisit it because you guys really didn't have a whole lot of information at the last podcast. Kind of. A lot of assumptions, so we gotta probably clear something.
And we apologize for that, but we were just trying to get something out, and we didn't mean to lie. We're not liars, obviously. No. We're pretty, we had limited resources of information, and
that's true. So having said all that, let me kind of go through the events of what happened because I know there's a lot of people that just got part of what happened, and this will kind of clear it up, coming straight from the horse's mouth, and so to speak. So we can. We had a big Christmas party, and a lot of the guys at the Christmas party were RC flyers, and so they told me, "Hey, next week." That was on a Saturday, and then next week we're going to go fly on Friday. You really need to come out. And so it was Friday, December 19th, and I said, "Okay, perfect. I'll do that." And I had a little time off from work for the holidays, and so I basically had a bunch of honeydews at the house to do. My wife was like, since you're off, you got to get all this stuff done. And one of them was changing the oil on my tractor, making sure the hot tub and the pool were all the way they should be, changing those filters out. So that morning,
it's good to have a wife to tell you to change the oil in your tractor.
I know, right? It really is.
She's a keeper.
It was. She was committed. She was a keeper. I got up. I pulled the tractor up. I was changing the oil. I changed the oil and the all the fluids in it and everything. And I looked at my watch. I drained the hot tub. I was doing like 5 or 6 different items all at once. I was outside most of the day, and my wife was working. She works from home, so she was in her office doing her thing. She had a bunch of conference calls that she was on, and so. I changed everything, and I looked at my watch, and I was like, oh, man, the guys are going to be out in the field. So I texted them, and I was like, what time are you going to be out? And they said, oh, we're going to be there between 2 and 2:30, and it was about 1 o'clock. And I was like, okay. I had charged some batteries already that morning, and, I was getting ready to go. So I walked back into my shop and picked up my radio, my IX-20, and a handful of batteries because I was going to fly the T-28 Trojan. And it's in the trailer, luckily. And so I basically grabbed all the batteries, and I walked through my shop, and I set them all on the table next to the door. And I set them there, and I ran right out the door because, I'm going to go to the trailer, pick up my airplane, put it in the truck, and, kind of go to the field. And the tractor was still sitting there, and I was like, oh, crap, I got to go park the tractor. So I hopped on the tractor, moved it down to the lower part of the property where I normally park it, and I put it back in its parking space, and I was walking back to the house. And as I was walking back to the house, I'm in the back part of the house, I was walking up, I could hear the smoke alarms going off, right? So I was like, what is that woman doing in there, because immediately I thought she was cooking something or, what is that noise? And so I went through the back gate, and I got to the back door of the house, and it was just pitch black in there, and so I opened up my sliding glass door, and smoke just rolled out. And I kind of was like, holy crap, what's going on? So I ran into the house, and I have really tall ceilings. So the smoke wasn't quite like where I was. It was just above my head. And so I ran through and I yelled for my wife, and I didn't know where she was. And so I turned the corner and ran out the garage door, and she was coming through the door. So we kind of ran into each other in the hallway. And as I went out the door, the garage door was open. I saw that the shop was pretty much a ball of flame. I mean, I have a window out front, and there was just flames coming out. The window had shattered. There was glass everywhere. The inside of the garage door, you've been to my shop, it's got a man cave over the top of the door. That door was just, like bulging out. The RV garage door, the big 14-foot door, it was all bulging out. Smoke was coming out of everywhere. And I was like, no, because I saw that everything was going on. And so I grabbed the water hose and I tried to put it out like I was going to make a dent with a water hose. It was pretty much a, flaming ball of fiery mass, and so I started spraying stuff, and then I turned around and there was a guy standing there, and he was my neighbor, and he had seen the flames and come over. He's a retired firefighter. He said, hey, go turn your electricity off. So I ran into the garage again, turned the electricity off. I ran back outside all the way around the house to the other side of the house, turned that electricity off, which is weird because I have a big panel right there where I was standing. I could have just pulled the 3, lugs out of it and it would have turned everything off. But I was thinking in my head, I got to go to the, panels and turn them off. And so as I was coming back around the house, I walked inside. By then, the back door was open, and I thought, well, if I open the front door, it'll create a breeze to the house. It'll kind of vacate some of that smoke, get it out of the house. And as I walked through, I got this weird just feeling, like it just came over me. And I touched the front door, and I opened the front door. And as I opened the front door, I don't know, I can't describe it, but it was like this calm came over me, and I just went, oh my gosh, it's over. I felt it happen, right? And so I saw my wife standing out at the gate, and I thought, I got to say goodbye. So I walked out. I walked right over to her, and I looked at her right in the eye, and I said goodbye. And then my heart literally stopped. So whether it stopped at the door and I realized I had to get to her, or whether it stopped right then, I collapsed right in my front yard. My wife kind of panicked. She called everybody. The firefighters were already there with the EMS service, and they jumped the wall and started compressions right away. They did put a defibrillator on me, and they shocked me to get me back. I did kind of look up and say what just happened, but I was out after that. I lost consciousness again. They airlifted me out to the hospital, and come to find out, I basically had a 99% blockage in the LAD, which is the widowmaker in the front of your heart. And the doctor basically said, in the excitement of the fire and maybe me running around, that maybe there was another piece of plaque that got let loose in my system and plugged that other 1%, and that's really what stopped my heart. I did not see a light at the end of the tunnel, so I'd never really crossed over, but I did lose my life. I did technically, had they not done anything, I would have expired right there. So the doctor said it was a miracle. They got on me within the 3 minutes of time that will, after 3 minutes, I guess it causes brain damage. And he said the fact that they were right there and they got on me, and the fact that they had the right equipment, because they had the one that shocks you, the little paddle things. They had those as opposed to the stuff that you put on there and it looks for an arrhythmia heart rate that just shocks your heart back into a rhythm. That one, if you don't have a heart rate, it won't do anything. So he said the fact that they had the right equipment got me back to here. So having said all that, made it to the hospital, and believe it or not, within 24 hours they had put a stent. They did say my heart had got sustained damage from the 3 times that they shocked me, because they lost me 2 more times and had to put the paddles back on me. So he said that basically did the damage, because it's like taking a baseball bat to your thigh. If you do it once, it's going to hurt. If you do it 3 times, you're gonna not be able to walk for a little bit. And he said that's about the best way he could describe it. But the heart is operating right now at about 35%, and he wanted me to go to cardiac rehab and try to get it up to 45 or 55%. So that's kind of where I'm at now. But I was incredibly lucky. I had a great care team, and I am a miracle to be walking around. The doctor basically was shocked when he walked in my room, and I was, standing there. He looked at me and he looked at the bed and he goes, "Are you Michael?" I said, "Yeah." He goes, shook my hand. He goes, "Wow, you look much worse or much better in person than you do on paper. I did not expect to see you standing up, talking to me when I walked in the room. I fully expected you to be out." So I did look out. It was, my wife, poor thing, has just been through the ringer, and I feel terrible for her because she thought it was twice. When she came out, she thought I was in the shop. When she saw the shop on fire, she thought I was literally in there. And I mean, literally, it was so hot, so fast, you couldn't get anywhere near it. The fact that I was holding a water hose at the window, I mean, it was.
Yeah, well, that's like her first description to us, when she was texting things to me. Mm-hmm. She was like, "Yeah, Michael and a neighbor grabbed a hose and jumped into the flames." And I'm like, what? What?
Whoa.
Why? It was a big blaze. Why would he jump in the fire? So I'm trying to ask her questions without asking her questions.
Grab the little spray bottle for the plants and just trying to put it out. And,
the news, actually, I made the news. They took a picture. The news media wrote an article on it and all thing. And it basically, in the news, a lot of people found out via that. And because they recognized my house. And so it said that, the resident came out of the burning house and collapsed. And that really wasn't the case either. The house wasn't on fire. It was just the shop part. The smoke was in the house because it went up through the attic and kind of filtered through the whole house. But I came through the middle of the house and walked out the front door and collapsed. So I don't have any burns or, I wasn't anywhere near the flames. But unfortunately, the shop and the garage are pretty much gone. They're totally destroyed. So I know on the last podcast you guys mentioned that my sim, both my tables, they're gone. The fire inspector did come out. They're not really quite sure what caused everything, but there was 6 burned up LiPo batteries sitting right there where the fire kind of started. So if it was a battery that lit off, or either something happened there or something else where it rolled off the table, we're not really sure. But I will tell you that fire burned so hot and so fast that it was 1:52 in the afternoon when I walked out of the shop door. By 2:13 in the afternoon, the entire shop was gone. Yeah. Literally, it just wrapped itself around there. It looked like somebody just drove a truck right through it and took out everything. So there was literally nothing left. And, have you seen those old Wile E. Coyote cartoons where he lights a match and he burns himself up and he's like an outline of himself in ashes, and then then it all kind of goes and it goes to the ground.
Yeah.
He disappears.
Yeah.
That's exactly how everything in my shop looks. Like when we went back through, because I was able to kind of go back with the insurance people when they came out, and we walked in there, and it literally, I have a iX20 that was sitting by the door where obviously it was, you could tell pretty much when you walk in where the fire started. It's the hottest part. And it was sitting by the door with the battery sitting next to it, and it was a perfect outline of my iX20 aluminum case. And when he touched it, it just went and fell into a big pile.
Wow.
I mean, it was perfectly standing up. You could look in there and make out that it was what used to be an iX20, but if you just breathed on it, it just vaporized into ashes. And so it burned. All that aluminum was gone. I had a 3D printer in there, and it has extruded aluminum, poles and everything. Those were gone. It melted all of that aluminum. So whatever the temperature was, I don't know what the temperature is for melting aluminum, but it got hot enough that it melted those. So it was truly amazing that I was not there. But at the same time, I have to give, as tragic as this fire happened, it did save my life because the fire department was there and they were able to get to me right away. as opposed to me driving we were about to drive to California. I would have been halfway to California out in the middle of the desert somewhere. And if this would have happened then, I would not be here. So the doctor basically went through every scenario under the sun and said, yeah, I can pretty much pick anything that will tell you, had everything not lined up exactly the way it did, you would not be with us today. So
wow.
they were saying it was a miracle, and they were calling me the miracle man in the hospital because they're like, wow, is this a miracle guy? Miracle man? I was like, no, I don't know about that, but I'm still here. So but I'm doing better. And the doctor, I had my cardiac follow-up yesterday, and he said everything is right on track, and I'm doing well. He didn't see anything to be worried about so far, but I am wearing a defibrillator vest, so if something does happen, it will take care of it right away. And then I'm just having to take it easy, so getting a lot of, paperwork done and insurance stuff and trying to figure out all that stuff. But that's kind of how the whole thing happened. And yeah, you guys have questions about it or whatever. I know you're just kind of getting filled in as well. Some of the stuff you already know, but, for our listeners, they probably have questions too.
Well, just to fill you in about your aluminum question, it says that the melting point of aluminum is 12,020 degrees Fahrenheit for the melting point of aluminum. So it was that hot near within that local area to melt those extrusions like they did.
Yeah, so that was pretty amazing. They did do an environmental. They came in and did some testing to see if there was lithium polymer contamination in the shop, which obviously there was. I did have a lot of batteries in there. Luckily for me, I have that big toolbox, and inside that drawer, I have a lot of new batteries, and they were all in there. The toolbox was good. It did not cause any of those batteries to light off, but the 6 that I had that were sitting on top of each other, you could see that at least 3 of them were sitting on top of, like it melted them together, and you could see them how they blossom when they go, and you could tell that they were. But the other 3 were nowhere to be found. They were totally gone. So I don't know. We really don't know at this point what started it. And the batteries that were involved, if it was one of them, or if it rolled off the table and punctured itself.
You could definitely say that having having the batteries there was just like having gasoline, like you would have gasoline sitting in big containers on your thing. I mean,
it's funny that you say that because I do. I had 2. Fire is really weird the way it works, but it started by the door. And literally right by my table are 3 little MAP gas canisters that were brand spanking new, that don't even have soot on them. I mean, the fire burned so hot and it rolled around those 3, and they have a little pop-off valve. When they get really, really hot, they usually pop off, and then they expunge all their gas out, right? And so that I would have seen the side of my table just look like a blowtorch had been taken to it, but that wasn't the case. It jumped right over top of those, and it burned everything on top. So unfortunately, my Zoroli Bearcat being built is gone. That was all on the table, including the landing gear, so that's all gone. My A10 was by the door, so that's totally gone. My sim chair, that's totally gone. My Fontana, the big 120 that I had, it's gone. All of the foam airplanes that I had up, sitting up on top of everything, they're all gone. And then I know you mentioned I had a new F-18, the Ceramark F-18 in the box. The box got really torched, but I haven't had a chance to open it to see if anything on the inside.
Yeah, but it was like that for a few things, right? That it would be if something was in a box, or it was in a toolbox, or if it was, like I said, some was cardboard, some wasn't. It was just weird how some things melted or were affected, and other things just protected by cardboard were fine. I mean, they still were messed up, but I mean, they were fine in the fact that they didn't catch on fire.
Yeah, it's like the fire jumped over top of it, or that it was just like moving so fast that it just skipped over it. Like it didn't have a chance to, really burn it. And it did look like, when you walk in there, everything's burnt. I mean, it's totally good. But
Right.
The fire guy that came and talked to us or that spoke with us, he basically said, because I have a door between my shop and the RV garage, and the RV garage has 16-foot ceilings. So he said basically when that heat came into my shop, that it had a place to go. So it went through the door and up into the RV garage. And
mention the lights. Talk about the lights. In the ceiling.
So I have flat panel LED lights in my RV garage, and it literally looks like a cave that has stalactites hanging from the ceiling.
Oh wow!
The heat was so hot in the RV garage that it melted the plastic internals, and they were melting at such a rate that it was stringy. So you just see this big tall. I think I might have a picture. I'll post it, but it's a big long just piece of plastic that just goes all the way to the floor, almost 16 feet of it from the ceiling to the floor, and then we were walking in there, and it was like we were walking on glass, right? Crunch, crunch, crunch. And it's all the plastic from those lights that had kind of just melted and made little plastic, really thin straws. And when you stepped on it, it would shatter, and it sounded like glass, but it was actually just the plastic. But all that heat was held in there, which is why the garage door was being pushed out just from the heat. And the entire ceiling is just like it peeled all of the drywall. It just was so hot, the drywall sagging. But all my airplanes in the RV garage, I know last time you guys were talking about that they got saved. That is not correct. I lost them all. So unfortunately, my L-39 was up there, my AOV-10 was up there, the Pitts S-12. All of those airplanes. It was weird. The foam ones from like Motion RC. I had several Motion RC airplanes up there, and they are literally like the whole airplane. You can see the outline, and it's just the foam is just melted into like a Dixie cup. Like you can put the whole airplane in a Dixie cup. And so it did get very, very hot in there. The initial pictures that I saw, it looked like everything in there was good. Like, oh man, those airplanes are good, but that wasn't the case. Now that I've been there and been up close to them, it's pretty tragic. So, but unfortunately, it's good and bad, right? It was a life-saving event for me, but my health is more important than all those things. So, but on the other side of that, though, too, I have to thank everyone. The amount of people that just this outpouring of support is just truly amazing. Whether it was podcast, members that were reaching out, just saying, "Hey, look, we're praying for you. We're hoping you're doing well." I had everybody out the field that was looking for all my pilot buddies, that I currently fly with, family members. People have just stepped up beyond belief. It's just been very overwhelming to me to see such an outpouring of support. I'm not usually the guy that accepts it. I'm usually the guy giving it. If somebody needs something, I'll help them out. And to have so many people, I didn't even know I knew that many people, but I've had people from North Carolina and Texas and South Carolina and all over the country and all over the world basically that have reached out and wished me the best. So I do appreciate all those who have taken the time to leave me phone messages or emails or text messages. And I know I haven't gotten back with a lot of them, but it's just been kind of hectic around here trying to find temporary housing, and because we can't stay in the house. The toxic fumes are pretty bad. Those batteries that did burn up left a lot of toxicity, and all the foam and everything in there. But it was really weird. The MAP gas things didn't go off, and neither did my big. I had some gas canisters, some 5-gallon gas canisters sitting there. Mm-hmm. Like the fire jumped right over the top of them. The weirdest thing. It's just really strange. But nobody was hurt other than, in the fire part. My health is a whole different side of that story. But yeah, it was kind of tragic. So now I have to kind of rebuild, which is fine. I think Jay and I were talking earlier when I got out of the hospital, and he and I have been pretty much conversing daily. But he said, "Hey, you're having a hard time getting rid of some of these airplanes, and now it's been taken care of."
Now you don't have to decide. Oh, well,
I don't have to decide which one's
plane, but this one, that's It's off the table now. You don't have to decide nothing.
Yeah, I don't have to. No. And the good news is that each airplane that I owned had a story, right? Believe it or not, I very rarely bought airplanes. They all came from someone, right? And just by virtue of me helping someone, they give me one, so every airplane, Jay, has gotten a few for me over the years, and so each one of them had a specific story. Even the one from Mike, which you are correct, that one was in the trailer and that did survive. And my T-28 Trojan was in the trailer, so that did survive.
Oh, you got 2 planes you can still fly. That's good.
So I got 2. I can still fly, but I don't have a radio to fly them with. So with my radio, both my DX-18 and my IX-20 were both in the fire. So maybe I can. I know Tony listens to this. Maybe he'll send me a message and say, "Hey, maybe I can hook you up with some Spectrum guys and get a good deal on the radio."
Sure.
But yeah, that's the one thing I need to get back to is get my radio back and then reprogram the 2 airplanes that I do have. And then, unfortunately, the batteries that I used to fly the T-28 are gone, so I got to get some of those. Get some more of those. And my brand spanking new Spectrum SP, whatever it is, SP 501 or 201, the
Charger,
dual one that I bought, the Charger. Yeah, it's a big pile of ash too. So, unfortunately, but
Mike,
it's tragic.
Comes the worst. You gave me a DX 20 that I still have over here somewhere. I can always send that to you.
Oh, 18. I think that's an 18, right? A DX 18.
What 18 or 18? I think it's 18 or 20.
I think it's 18.
One or the other.
Yeah, I think
whatever that was.
No, it's all good. I fortunately I had a good insurance policy. They're just kind of getting ramped up to do all the stuff, and they tell it's just going to be somewhere between 6 to 9 months before they get everything figured out, sorted to where we can move back into the house. But they're going to have to probably gut the helm and redo the drywall and stuff because the smoke did get behind the walls, and like I said, they did a toxicity check, and everything on this side of the house, really toxic, including our bedroom. The master bedroom, but everything on the other side is not quite as toxic, but they still got to get in there and clean it all. So there's a company, luckily my neighbor, he has a company that does that kind of thing, and he was right there and said, you know what, we'll help you out, don't worry about it. And we do this on a daily basis, so he's kind of working the problem and letting us take care of me instead of worrying about that.
Nice.
So I have a very good support network, and everybody's been wonderful. So.
Excellent.
Having said that, Winter Borb's coming up. It's at the end of this month, and I have some time. I'll be there.
I'll be there as well.
Terry's coming in, and I think Shannon will be there.
I'll be there.
I may not have a radio to fly, but unless I get one between now and then, but at least I'll be there and be able to see everybody that was worried about me and shake hands and thank everybody for the outpouring of love and support that I've gotten so far. So very humbling.
Well, we'll just be glad to get back and bump some knuckles and see you in person. Right? Yeah, see you in person. So
I know. Yeah. I don't think I've given so many man hugs in my career. I was like, everybody sees me, they're just like, oh my gosh,
Well, that too.
It's been fun, and my neighbors. I got to see a couple of them. I've been having to make trips to the house because we still have Amazon orders coming in and the mail's still coming in. So, we still got to take care of some of that stuff. And I'm not driving or anything yet. My wife has to drive me around, but occasionally we're not too far from the house, and so occasionally I'll sneak up there and grab the mail and walk around up that direction. So, but she's doing well. The dogs are doing well, and we have a temporary place, so we're all set up at the moment. And I have my blood pressure cuff. I take my blood pressure every morning and take my meds and track it all. So I'm hanging in there, doing well. So,
that's great.
But, and the Electric Festival's coming up too.
Yeah, so February 6th, 7th, and 8th, and we're rocking and rolling. Getting actually. The sponsors are starting to show up. I posted the whole list on our Facebook page, and I got some new sponsors, got some new products coming out, so really excited about it. I'm doing the shirts, so I guess it's a good thing I kept the shirt press over here, huh? Yeah.
Oh, good. Yeah,
so it wasn't the heat press that did it.
That's true.
So we're going to start putting the shirts together, and again, we'll probably be there and do something live. And if anything, we'll probably bring Mike Plains out just for display purposes if we don't have a radio, or we'll finagle somebody else's radio.
I'll put my T28 together. Just put it
yeah,
out
we'll
there
just
so
have
we can see it.
yeah. Well, I'm sure we'll see if we can get you a radio between now and then. Who knows? Lots of
no. I've been so busy. I haven't had a chance to reach out to a lot of people that responded. It's just there were literally 1,000 text messages and phone calls and emails and everybody worried. But I may reach out to Tony and see if there's some way we can come to an
Well, there's one thing I think they actually got wrong about your diagnosis about the brain damage, because I think just being part of this hobby and this podcast, I think they didn't get that right. So, but
probably so. A little loopy there.
Or maybe it corrected it. Who knows?
That's true. It could be. Yeah, my dogs are. We're at a really small place now instead of a big place, and I don't have my shop, so my dogs are looking out the window barking at the neighbors. But if you have questions or just want to reach out to me, parkflyerpodcast@gmail.com. We'll get to my email address, and the guys have been super supportive. I do appreciate you guys putting something together, and I think that's the first time in many 9 years or so, 10 years that we've ever missed the podcast. But I think everybody, like Jay said, is more than understanding that something tragic, and
it was only one, not the rest of them. That's the most important thing.
Yeah, that's true. So it could have ended right there.
Can't say you had just a hangnail. I mean, guy died 3 times. Okay, cut him some slack.
I know, cut me some slack. So it's funny because my wife said I was a cat. I had 9 lives. Because it seems like every 4 years something tragic happens. Because I did have COVID. We made it through there. I think I missed that podcast once, maybe. But yeah, it's crazy how my life has been an up and down road of really good things and really tragic things, and how I recovered from that. So, but it is amazing for everybody that has supported me, and I do appreciate it. So, anyway, sounds like the neighbor woke up your dogs too. So I totally get it. Well, do you have anything else coming up there, Shannon?
Those are the 2 big things. We'll see it at Winter Warbirds and see it at AEF, and just excited about that. And that's all I got. I'm just glad.
Just right around the corner.
I know it's like whoa. I don't know if I have everything ready for it. I got the time off. Luckily, I got that Friday off, so it's all good.
That's good.
I'll be out there, and our good friend Harry's going to join us, right?
Yeah,
all right.
He is. He's coming. Actually, believe it or not, I'm in a 2-bedroom place, so he's got a place to stay.
Oh.
And I already called him and
Nice.
said, "Hey, but I'm not going to be staying at my house, but I got a place for us." So, and I still have the motorhome. We can move it out there too.
Nice.
So,
All right.
It's all good. So, Jay, anything coming up for you in the near future?
No, just kind of chilling out until February.
Okay, good. So, well, excellent. We are looking forward to seeing you again in 2 weeks. But for now, I'm Michael here in Arizona.
And I'm Jay in the SC.
And Shannon G, good old Mesa AZ.
And we'll see you in 2 weeks.
Let's fly.
You have been listening to the Park Flyer Podcast. Thank you for joining us, and we look forward to your next visit. Please give our show a star rating and review, and feel free to email us your questions, topics, or suggestions to parkflyerpodcast@gmail.com.